Hi everyone, Art with Artemis here, and today I'll be showing you how I made this latest drawing of Echo, the newest character in Overwatch. Today we will be using Bindfang watercolor paper that is acid-free, 11 inches by 15. It is very similar to cardstock, but we will be using it for our project. I recommend getting 2 pencils for this project, just in case one happens to break. You will also need a pencil sharpener. We will also be using a Uniball Vision pen that is fade-proof and waterproof for this project. Because we will be using watercolor, we want to make sure our line art doesn't smear or stain. We don't want that happening, so this pen is actually very useful. We will be using watercolor markers. Mine is personally a dual-tipped one, so one is more pointy and the other one's more smaller in comparison. We're gonna also be needing a blending kit, which is very useful for this. We need a plastic card, or something that's firm plastic so that way you can color on it and you test out your colors. And this here came with the kit. It is a spray bottle. Usually you can either spray on your paper with some water, but make sure it's not too wet. But I did some experimenting with this before and I don't recommend it for this project. I'm not exactly going to be using the blending pen because I'm not entirely familiar with it yet. Instead, I'll be using a different method. Next, we are going to need some colored pencils. We also have this clip thing, which literally has no importance to the project, so I'm just going to throw that over there. Instead of using the blending pen, I'll be using good old-fashioned paintbrushes, which also we'll be needing a small bowl, and just fill it with water, and you'll need some paper towels too to blot out extra water from the watercolor pens. We're going to be using the pens and marking them on the plastic, so we will eventually be picking up that color with the paintbrush. Anyways, this is how we're going to do it. Also, if you have a hard time with it, get a scratch sheet of cardstock or paper and you can try out your colors if you want to. I recommend a thicker type of paper because you don't want it to bleed through or curl because of the watercolor part. Anyways, let's get started. Phase 1. Sketching. I start out sketching a circle to get an idea of where the head is going to be, and I start adding a midline and 2 underlines to chart out where I'm going to put the eyes, nose, and mouth. I continue by adding a small strand of hair that she has sticking out of her bun. I want to make sure that I get most of her hair details together. I'm going to continue by working on the neck and collar. I sketch out the shape of the shoulders and work my way to the forearm. I try to figure out what type of pose I want them to be in. Since I'm not sure at the moment, I'm going to start sketching out a table so I can get an idea of what I want to do. I want to make this more so like in the workshop or something. I want to make it where she's working on Echo's helmet and she's imagining how the future of what her creation's going to be like. I sketch out Echo's face at the top of the page to give it the illusion that the lady is daydreaming about Echo. I draw the position of the body in a pose that indicates she is flying, since I want to base it off the scene with the Overwatch 2 trailer where Echo pops up. I go over some more details such as the wings and the feet. I want to make sure I get this a nice pose and make sure it's accurate as possible. Phase 2. Line art. So for this phase, you're going to go around with the Uniball Vision fine tip pen that is waterproof and fade proof that I told you about at the beginning of this video. And you're going to go around and trace all of the lines that you want in your final drawing. And once you do that, you erase all of the pencil marks. If there's anything missing that you did in your line art, you can go back and touch that up. Phase 3. Color in details. We now grab our colored pencils and lightly color in some of the basic colors for the drawing. I color where the test mech is and the thing that is holding it. I also color in lightly her hair, sweater, and pants. Then I begin working on some of Echo's face and lightly shading in some of her hand and other details. I then continue by coloring in the table. I'm also going to be coloring in some of the letters and try and fix Echo's face. I want to make sure I get in the nice details now so we can move forward with our next part. Phase 4. Watercolor. In this phase, we get our watercolor markers and the plastic card I was talking about and our paintbrush. I start coloring on the plastic card and I'm going to use my paintbrush and some water to pick up the color. If it's more darker or more lighter than one side, I go ahead and try and fix it up. by adding less water or more water. Since I want to make her hair have more color, I want to use the black marker, and I'm going to add a lot more water for this, so that way it doesn't oversaturate the color from the line art. And I want to make sure I'm doing this for the shirt and the pants. If you want to have a lighter color, make sure you have your paper towel ready also to blot it a little bit lightly, so that way it doesn't give as much of a darker color. I continue to color in Echo's head and try and add extra shadowing. I then work on the thing that's holding the body mech, and I want to make sure I get the orange color's nice shade. I also add more detail to the darker parts. I get my blue marker and I start coloring in the mech. I want it to look more defined, and I start adding some of the detail for Echo's other helmet. After I add more definition, I go to the Echo above the picture and start adding in the other blue details. Since I'm almost done, I'm going to work on the letters for Echo. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to work on a small light background. But first, I'm going to go over any details that I missed previously. I then work on a background, giving the light blue and lots of water, and I put that all around. And I use a lavender color too, and this way it gives the illusion more so of a daydream. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more. Until next time, bye!